Hey, pre-calc students, we're going to do a little quick example here on writing a polynomial given zeros and zeros that have multiplicities, meaning that these particular numbers are zeros more than once for a particular polynomial function. So directions say write a polynomial function of minimum degree in standard form with real coefficients whose zeros and their multiplicities include those listed. So we're told that we have a 0 of 1 and it's got a multiplicity of 2. Which means that 1 is a 0 twice. Okay, and the negative 2 is another 0 with the multiplicity of 3. That means that it's a 0 3 times. So if I'm going to write a polynomial for this, I first turn my 0 into a factor. So if 1 is a 0, that means that the factor that it would come from would be x minus 1. Okay, now if 1 is a 0 twice, it means that x minus 1 is a factor twice of my bigger polynomial that I'm trying to write. And then the same thing with negative 2. If negative 2 is 0, well then x plus 2 must be the factor that it comes from. Okay, and if it's got a multiplicity of 3, that means that x plus 2 is a factor 3 times. Okay. Now, once I have that figured out, I've got all the factors, then the only thing left for me to do, not that it's a little thing, is for me to FOIL all of these factors together. So when I'm all done, I'm going to have x to the 5th plus something x to the 4th minus something x cubed, blah, 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 blah. I'll go through that real quick. Now, as you do this, x minus 1 times itself is x minus 1 squared. So I'm going to hustle through that and square the first term, multiply the two together, double it, and square the second term. You could write out FOIL and get that same thing if you wanted to, but again, that just saves us a little bit of time. Okay. The next one, it's x plus 2 cubed. I know a multiplication pattern for that as well. I would cube the first term, so I get x cubed. I would take 3 times x squared times 2 the second term, so it's going to be 6x squared. And again, you could FOIL this out if you don't trust me. Plus 3 times 2 squared now, which is 4, so that's 12 times x to the first. And then finally 2 cubed, which will be 8, plus 8 at the end. Now again, write it out, FOIL them, FOIL these two, and then take whatever you get times the third one. You'll get this, okay? Again, I'm just doing this for the sake of time because we could figure that out. Again, there's another pattern. Now, at this point, when I got this trinomial times this quadrinomial, we could call it, I got to do FOIL, but a lot of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I do that. I would take x squared and distribute it to all 4 of these terms over here. So x squared times x cubed is going to be x to the 5th, and then I got plus 6x to the 4th plus 12x cubed plus 8x squared. Okay, this will just take a little bit of time thanks to the mouse. 8x squared. All right. So that was me distributing it to all 4 of those terms. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the negative 2x that's in the middle and do the same thing. I'm going to distribute it to all these terms. So negative 2x times x cubed is going to be negative 2x to the 4th. And notice where I put it. Instead of writing it along the line this way, I write it underneath its like term. That's going to make for easier combination of like terms in just a minute here. So next, negative 2x times this is going to be minus 12x cubed, and then we've got minus 24x squared, and finally minus 16x is going to be the final term. Okay, and then I've got one more to FOIL here. Let me use this color. We're going to take the 1 times each of these terms. Now, if it's just a 1, that's pretty easy. Just write all those terms again. So I'm going to put them in the right spot. So I got an x cubed. I got a plus 6x squared. I've got a plus 12x. And I've got a plus 8 at the end. Again, I wrote them this way, stacked, so that I could add their like terms relatively easily. So when I'm all done multiplying everything, add the like terms. Well, x to the 5th is itself. Okay. 6x to the 4th minus 2x to the 4th is plus 4x to the 4th. 12x squared minus 12x, or 12x cubed minus 12x cubed plus 1x cubed is going to be just plus x cubed. That's nice. We've got 8 minus 24 is going to be negative 16, plus 6 is going to be negative 10 x squared. And negative 16 plus 12 is going to be negative 4x. And then we got a plus 8 at the very end. And that will do. So that's foiling after I'm given zeros and their multiplicities, and I have to turn it into a polynomial. Just a heck of a lot of FOIL to have to do. So good luck.